48 Hours True Crime. The obsession that killed twice. They say time heals all wounds. But what they don't tell you is that some wounds cut so deep, they don't bleed, they echo. Echo through years. Through lovers, through rage, through the madness we dress up as justice. And sometimes it's not the past that haunts you, it's the idea that someone, somewhere, still has something of yours. For Mark Stover, that something wasn't money. It wasn't land or property. It wasn't even Linda, the woman he married and then lost. It was a photograph. A single, frozen memory of a wedding long expired. A moment framed in glass that refused to die, and for that a man would lose his life. Not because of love, but because a man like Mark, once abandoned, didn't want to be forgotten. Born in 1952, raised in the shadow of an early father's death, Mark was the kind of man people remembered, and not always fondly. Arrogant, sharp-tongued, unreadable. He was the storm that didn't need clouds. Expelled from high school, adrift, angry. Then one day, like divine intervention in canine form, he found purpose in a German shepherd. A dog. And in that creature's loyalty, he found his only compass. He turned that bond into a career: dog training, behavior therapy, even Hollywood clients. He called himself a dog psychotherapist. Others just called him intense. Then came Linda. Rich, refined, and radiant, the kind of woman who could look at a man like Mark and still see potential. In 1991, they met. In 1992, they opened a dog training facility on a private island owned by Linda's family. And in 2002, they married. But marriage doesn't fix broken people. It just makes their cracks harder to ignore. Mark's paranoia bled into their daily life. Avocados could start a war. Money became obsession. Control was the air he breathed. By 2005, Linda was done. She moved out. By 2006, she was miles away, buying a house in Winthrop. And by 2007, Mark had spiraled, obsessed with their wedding photos, furious at their erasure, furious that he could not erase her back. He placed a pistol on her pillow. He stalked her, demanded relics of a past she wanted to burn. Even as Linda found solace in the arms of another, the best man at their wedding, no less, Mark watched. He followed. He entered her house without permission. And when the law caught up, it smacked him lightly. Probation. Anger management. Surrender your guns and maybe your ghosts. But here's the twist: Mark obeyed. He vanished from Linda's life. Silent. Gone. And into that silence stepped a new man, Michael Oakes. A former tactical trainer with stories about military contracts and close combat credentials. A man who looked like safety. Who claimed he could protect Linda from shadows that no longer moved. He studied the voicemails, the restraining orders. He made Linda feel seen, and maybe he believed the threat was still real. Maybe he wanted it to be. By 2009, they were in love. But love without trust is just another prison. And for Michael, the cell door was inside his own mind. Because he wasn't just in love with Linda, he was obsessed with proving himself against a ghost. On October 28, 2009, Mark Stover disappeared. At first, the signs were subtle. A locked door where there had never been one. The smell of bleach. A man seen moving heavy objects into a white station wagon. Mark's dog training facility now felt like the prelude to something awful. Witnesses reported a black SUV, Michael's, trailing Mark's car near a secluded spot. A roll of plastic. A strange transfer. Then gone. Later that day, police stopped Michael near the same area. He said he was using a phone. They let him go. But by then, the pieces had already started to fall apart. Mark's car was found at a casino. His blood was found in his home. And when police came knocking at Linda's house, Michael ran straight to his SUV where he tossed a bag containing a pistol down an embankment. It was a Browning .22 caliber. And it had just 3 bullets missing. The same number used to shoot Mark's beloved dog, Dingo, in the head. But Dingo survived. So now there was blood, a gun, a motive, a man running from nothing but the truth. In court, Michael spun a tale worthy of fiction. He claimed Mark had reached out to him months earlier, demanding those wedding photos. That he threatened Michael's family. That on October 28th, they met for an exchange. That Mark pulled a revolver and shot him in the chest. But Michael wore body armor. That he disarmed Mark using elite combat skills and shot him in self-defense. That he only disposed of the body because he didn't trust the system. But the system was already unraveling him. There was no revolver in Mark's home. No proof of threats. No physical injury to Michael. No report to the police. No call to friends. Just a shopping list from Walmart at 5:16 a.m. That included camouflage, a rope, ankle weights, and shin guards. One item for each act of violence. One for each piece of evidence he would later claim was innocent. The ankle weights weren't for climbing. They were for sinking. The shin guards weren't a gift. They were protection from Dingo. The camouflage wasn't coincidence. It was cover. And that .22 caliber pistol? It wasn't Mark's. It was Michael's. Just like the lies were. A jury listened. And they saw through the bravado, the story, the fantasy. On October 22, 2010, they convicted Michael Oakes of first-degree murder. 26 years, the maximum. The justice system did its job. But justice doesn't feel like closure when the body is still gone. When a dog limps through the world with bullet scars. When a woman rebuilds her life on bones that were never found. You see, this story was never about a photo, or a stalker, or self-defense. It was about identity. Mark Stover once stalked a woman because he couldn't handle rejection. And Michael Oakes murdered a man because he couldn't handle being ordinary. Both men saw Linda as a reflection of themselves. Mark saw her love as validation. Michael saw her trauma as opportunity. And when both were denied, one by divorce, one by reality, they cracked. Loudly. Irreversibly. Michael needed a villain. So he resurrected one from Linda's past. And when the villain wasn't threatening enough, he rewrote the script. Made Mark a monster again. So that Michael could become the hero, at least in his head. But what makes the story truly tragic isn't just the murder. It's the illusion that justice has a clean finish. That once the gavel falls, the pain ends. The truth is, some wounds never close. Some questions stay unanswered. Some lies outlive their liars. And somewhere beneath a dock, or beneath the silence of a courtroom, or behind the quiet eyes of a dog who should have died that day, Mark Stover still lingers. Dead. Forgotten. But never quite gone.